Okay, so then line this up on an edge. Grid line, and then put this right down on top. And oh, I feel so happy that I remembered to put my ribbon in. Very cool. So the ribbon panel will be the first panel that we work with in securing it inside of your card. I had done about 3 of these yesterday when I was practicing and just prepping this, and then on my 4th one, I think it wasn't sliding out, and I had done everything the same, so I thought, and it wasn't working, and what was happening? And I took it apart and I was looking, and I watched the video again, and I realized that I had put the non-ribbon side in first, and apparently that made the difference, because when I switched it and put my ribbon one in first and then the no ribbon one in the second spot, it slid. So it really seems to matter which one you put in first. So really make sure of that. I didn't notice that I had grabbed the different one on my 4th time. You think you'd be messing up on your first one, not your 4th one. Just goes to show you need to pay attention to what you're doing all of the time. Funny thought. Okay, so we're going to take this one and make sure we have that in our sights of what we're working with next. And then you want to slide the join, or that part where you glued it together, to very near the top. And then grab the tear and tape again, do a little eyeballing, and then I just put this kind of right down on top of those other tapes that are secured in there. And then you want to lift off your tear and tape. And now the first one we are going to be putting face down on our middle section here. Oh, it kind of helps if you do some scoring first. It could happen later, but like I should have done this before I took my backing off, but as long as I don't stick it down, it should be okay. So then you've got some of your scoring out of the way, so when you fold it together, it'll be a little easier. Okay, so then we're going to center this face down on this middle panel. And you're not going to be punching anything out because you're going to need it to show so you can slide it. If this feels funny to cover up that punched part. Okay, it looks pretty good. Okay, and then I'm going to be folding this over and pushing it down. And if you want to check yourself, you can pretend that it's been folded and you can see if it will slide. So that looks really good. Oh, I love how this comes together. I think I'm going to be making a lot of these, especially, well, I'm an adult and I find this fun, but kids would think this is really fun, I think. And with especially sending these bold colors, the monochrome to younger kids might, kind of fits. Unless you know someone whose favorite color is these things. Like my mother, her favorite color is orange and her birthday's the end of May, so I'm going to send her one of these. If I give her a card, she'll say, oh, that's cool. Why isn't it orange sometimes? So I just better send her an orange card. Okay, so now we need to keep this folded, and we're going to be putting our strip at the bottom, our strip of tear and tape down here. You can leave a little bit of room. It doesn't have to be right at the edge. And you want to make sure none of this is, I don't know if this little tiny piece would matter. I can't see my snips and I don't want to use my ribbon scissors. So grab some snips from the group table behind it and just cut off that little tiny extra piece. Okay, so then we're going to take off this. And now this is a part where it seems funny, but it's true. I watched the video again, and I've checked and I've double checked, and you're going to still put it face down. Like this one was face down on the center panel. This one is face down now on the slidey joiner thing. And you're not going to see any of the parts where it attaches because your side parts don't pull out all the way. So one of these is attached to the front of the panel, attaches to the slidey thing, but you don't see it, so you don't have to worry. It seemed to me like, oh, really? The front of it? But you don't see that front part. It doesn't pull out all the way. So I'm going to center this, and you can kind of, if you look from the side, see that you can line it up with the panel underneath as well. But also if you just kind of, at least line it up top and bottom. But then the sides you just kind of have to do. Okay, so then we're going to press that down, and then we could have done this earlier, but I'm just going to flip this whole thing over and put a little bit of, well, some of these steps can be done in different orders, but some of them really can't. It's hard to know for sure which ones. But you can put this tear and tape on at any time. You just need it to be on the, as close to the score line as possible. And having this be on the front, the same side that you made your card front be. I always make it just a slight bit too short, and because this is the, you know, what keeps the card together, I'm going to go ahead and cover up that part that's bare and cut off the end. Excuse me. Okay, so then I'm going to take some care to hold all my parts together, flip it back over, and then I'm not going to take this off quite yet. I'm going to show you how it comes together. When you fold it, you want to, I'm going to make sure this is visible, you want to make sure that your little tab is going to go over that panel and going to go down in between the panel and the green cardstock or whatever color, and it's going to attach right there to your base of the card. So you want to kind of hover over, cover over, wrap around that center panel, little wiggly piece, and it's gonna attach the green to the green. I think that makes sense. Okay, oops, that's a tiny piece. I have a 3.5-year-old and she loves the word tiny. Everything is, oh, it was a tiny thing, oh, a tiny thing. They're so cute. Okay, and then kind of squeeze these together. Moment of truth. Oh, please work on the camera. Yes, it slides so wonderfully. And it was just a bit snugger than my other ones, but it still works well. So as long as it's not super tight and scraping against the edges, you should be good to go. So all of them are working well. Oh, beautiful. Okay, and then I have Call Me Clover blends. I'm going to grab some rhinestones and color those. Sadly, I am out of these great faceted gems. This is what they look like clear, and they have them in gold. I have one left, but they're just so cool. And when you color, I didn't like them at first, but I got them to put on a card I was copying from another demonstrator, and now I love them. And I love how the blends work so well to color rhinestones and other things like that. But I'm just going to have to use my regular rhinestones on this. I can use some of these big ones. Not quite as big, but they'll still be cool. And I'm going to quick grab my Call Me Clover blends. Yep. Got them. I love these blends, and I love the light and dark. I'm going to have to go with the dark. Will be closest. The blends, the light and dark, are kind of just on either side of the shade of the cardstock, I think, but when you color them and put them together with it, it looks really good. So I'm going to use there's the brush tip side and then the clear, or I mean the pointy side, and it took me years of using the regular markers to know that they are also marked with the broad and the thin line to show you your ends. No one told me, and I wasn't observant. So we're going to cover up that one end and then use the brush tip end and color. Oh, that looks cool too. Doesn't beat up your marker quite as much as coloring on these ones. So that is the one danger. You're going to beat up your marker tips a little bit when you color on these rhinestones and gems. But oh, emerald looking. My birthday's in May, so emerald is May birthstone. Very, very pretty. And then I'm going to grab my really handy Take Your Pick tool. And these alcohol markers, because the blends are alcohol markers, because they dry so fast, this isn't going to be wet anymore. No color is going to come off on here. So I'm going to use my Take Your Pick tool, and I'm going to use my sticky end and just push this off to the side and stick it right on top of my, oh, I love it, no more smudge. And then stick this one down over here. Oh, that's really nice. Oh, and then because I did this on the ones with the sequins and put some in the corners to match, I think that these ones are thin enough that I could put them on the inside. Clearly, these ones would get stuck, but I'm going to give it a go. I have a friend from the UK, and I feel like, and maybe from watching the video too, I feel like I've been using more UK or British phrases like give it a go and stuff. Makes you sound smarter, doesn't it? Just kidding. Okay, I'm gonna go in the opposite. These are this way, bottom left, top right. I'm gonna go down in the bottom right and the top left. Oh, this is wonderful. I'm really liking this. I love when improvisation like turns out really well. Okay, so there you go. It slides so nicely. Oh, you could go crazy and do a whole row of embellishments down there. These little ones. Oh, these are so cool. I love when you get into your stamping groove and you're just having fun and you're inspired. It's wonderful. Getting together with people, stamping with people is really what gets me into that excited mood. Okay, so those are the projects I have for you. Thank you so much for watching, and thanks to Janine for sharing her card with me, and thank you to Terry Pocock for sharing that design on her blog. I don't know if she designed this card herself. I think there have been dual slider cards out there for a long time, but she's the first one, the source, that I know of. So thank you to Terry for sharing, and have a good night.